Five stakes on tap at Laurel Park on Saturday, topped by the $150,000 Frank J. DeFrancis Memorial Dash. Wanted to bring in John Piassek to help us make some sense of it. John handicaps every day of live racing in Maryland on the Racing Biz, theracingbiz.com. And he's a man wearing many hats, also works for the Maryland Horse Breeders Association. And wanted to get you in here, John, and maybe highlight a couple of horses that had efforts that maybe were better than they look on the page that you can see when we show the videos here. And let's start with the Miss Disco Stakes for 3-year-old Maryland bred or Maryland sired fillies going 7/8. And the horse you're looking at is a horse that won a turf stake last out, switching back to the main track. That might not be a problem at all, though.
I don't think so. That's number 3, Precious Avery, the only non-Maryland bred in the field. She's a Jersey bred, but gets in as she is by Country Life's Divining Rod. As you mentioned, she ran well to win the Jersey Girl Stakes against older horses back on July 8th on the grass. But 2 starts back, the most recent dirt race, I thought was also a big effort. It was against older horses, second level. Jersey bred Allowance Optional Claimant Company back on June 16th. Really had a fight on the early lead. Got himself involved in a speed duel, clicked off an opening quarter in 22.28 seconds. Not only did she dispatch of her dueling partner, but pretty much everyone else who was kind of close to that pace wasn't much of a factor at the end. However, not only did she last on the pace, she thrived on the pace, picked away late, held clear of the others, and won by 4 3/4 lengths, going 6 furlongs in 1:11 and 3/5 of a second over a wet fast track. Ran a business speed figure that day of 85, and is in fact one of only 2 horses in here who has run in the 80s in each of their last 3 starts, and the other one, Mallory Moonshine, has not raced since February. Precious Avery is in good form right now, improving form right now. I think she'll be very tough on the pace.
Precious Avery in the Miss Disco Stakes. One race later is the Star de Nascra, named for last year Maryland Hall of Fame entrant Star de Nascra. This is Maryland bred, Maryland sired 3-year-olds going 7/8 on the main track as well. And Super Accelerate scored a $55 upset in his last race. But you're looking for a horse that closed into kind of a tepid pace in his prior start.
Yes, I mean, this is really a stacked field of Maryland bred 3-year-olds. Lots of names very familiar to anyone who follows this circuit. Number 4, It's Viper, could be the best one of them all on pure ability. A homebred for the Elkstone Group, trained by Brittany Russell. Turned in very impressive back-to-back efforts at the Pimlico meet. 2 starts back on May 27th, turned in an especially good race. Got stuck behind a very slow pace, opening half that day, 48 2/5 seconds, 3/4, 1:12 2/5 seconds. Looked like he was really up against it at the top of the stretch. He was still 10 lengths out of it, and it's hard enough to close 10 lengths off any pace, much less a slow pace like that one. However, he kept on going and going, got to win by 2 1/4 lengths going away, ran a career top figure on a Visnet scale of 92. Didn't do much in the tail of the Cat Stakes last out at Monmouth Park. However, I am willing to draw a line for that race. He was a main track only entrant. It was not clear till the morning of that race would be taken off the grass, so it may not have been quite locked in for that effort. With a 4-horse field, that would have been a bit closer to the pace than he would have liked, and he didn't do much. By contrast, he has been well prepped for this contest. He's had 2 workouts since then. His most recent 4-furlong drill, a very solid one. Looks like he's in prime form, and he looks ready to mow him down and draw off in the stretch.
And then 2 races after that is the Deputed Testimony Stakes for older runners going 1 1/8 on the main track. And it's kind of a category killer in this group. A horse that's been just thrashing these kinds pretty much all year long. Enters off a defeat, John, but ran pretty well in defeat.
I thought he ran a very big race. It's number 3, Nimitz Class, obviously a well-known name to anyone who follows the circuit, even somewhat regularly. He dominated over the winter at Laurel, won 4 consecutive stakes for older males. 3 of them by open lengths, ran big figures every time. So I was excited to see him in graded stakes company, and he finally made that leap last out in Salvatore Mile. It had a bit of a tough trip that day. He broke a post 6 in that 2-2 mile in Monmouth for that short run into the first turn. Got hung wide entering the backstretch, was at about the 2 or 3 path, and Jevion Polito, I think, wanted to kind of back up off the pace. Really couldn't do that. There's nowhere to go, so he really had no choice but to move his mount forward. And he ended up getting caught up in a 4-way duel. He was 3 wide up the whole back stretch. In spite of that, he still ran on pretty well late, took the lead briefly, had it by about a length at the 8th pole, kept on grinding, ultimately lost to a horse who's had a very good trip just off of that 4-wide duel. Nonetheless, Nimitz Class far from embarrassed himself in that race. He was very gutsy. He's got post 3 here, a little bit of a shorter run into the first turn in this mile and an 8th contest. Think he'll work out a much better trip, and he's getting back to a track that he loves. I'm kind of hoping Be Better and Riding with Biden both take a lot of money, because while both are very good horses, I don't think they're in Nimitz Class's stratosphere, especially not on this track.
They're in Nimitz Class's class, if you will. All right, those are 3 to watch there from John Piassek. Precious Avery in the Miss Disco. It's Viper in the Start in Astra, and Nimitz Class in the Deputed Testimony. Good luck, everybody.